Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And today we're going to get into, listen, we're looking at the new year. All right. And what are you going to be doing about understanding debt from a different perspective? Ladies and gentlemen, all that are listening to me right now, I need you to understand that this whole system was set up so that you could pay 35 to 39% of your take home pay just on interest alone. And I'm telling you, you can learn how to do it better. You can understand the credit game. You can understand how interest is charged by understanding four basic principles of the P.I.L.L method: prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. As we go into this next year, you need to understand this from a basic level and stop letting people tell you that borrowing money is wrong. Credit cards are evil. Do not let them tell you these things are true. You can borrow money at a discount. You can have more, you can do more, and you can purchase more, you can invest more, and you can do it with less of your income because you can cut your interest costs, not your interest rate, but you can cut your interest costs by 75% or more. Listen, you want to see the numbers that I'm going to be putting up today. So I'm going to put my, let me get the link, copy the link here. Let's put it in the chat on Clubhouse. We'll put it there, paste it in there. And that's going to be our link for YouTube so that you can see what we're getting ready to put up on the screen. Or you can just go to YouTube, search for P.I.L.L method. And when you search for P.I.L.L method, you'll see our live broadcast, and get in there now so that you can see what I'm getting ready to put up. Understanding debt from a basic level is so important. It is so important because we don't get this basic education in our schools, and we should. Understanding it from a basic level. When you don't understand it, then those who are in charge of giving you the credit make a lot of money, even though it feels like they're not. It feels like they're not. Because listen, you can get a mortgage, you can have student loans, you have credit cards, you can have car loans, and you can live well, live in a nice neighborhood, and do all of these things on your income. Some of you have been blessed with great incomes, and you don't feel the pressure of all the interest you're paying. And that's exactly like the banks and the investors want it, because you're not looking at how much interest you're paying. Let me go ahead and put some stuff on the screen. Let me go ahead and get started, jump into this thing right now. So let me pull this up, get rid of this. Booms. All right, I'm gonna hide that. And we're going to get into this right now and talk about what we're doing here. All right. And Sharon M. Jones says, good morning. Good morning, Sharon. Good to see you here. And let's pull this up. All right. And I need to pull this screen over here. So it'll look like I'm looking over to the side because I'm looking at a different screen, ladies and gentlemen, so that we can get this going here. All right. So we need to share this screen. All right. And there we go. We're adding that to the stage. We're going to change our branding here. There we go. Boom. All right. There it is. All right. So here's what we're looking at. Okay. Here's what we're looking at. I need you to see this. I'm scrolling over to this part here. The basic understanding of how debt works. Prepayment of principal. Okay. So when you have debt, you want to get to the point where you understand how to pay the debt back so that you don't have to pay all of the interest that the bank is looking for. You see, when you read when you're reading the terms and the conditions, they're telling you what your interest rate is. They're telling you if you keep the money for this period of time, you will pay this much interest. But folks, that's just a suggestion. You don't have to pay all of that. It is, and there's a way to optimize interest savings. Now, anybody can save interest by paying extra. Anybody can save interest by paying more than the minimum payment. The point is, we don't know how much we're saving, and we don't know how much we could save if we optimized placing the money on the right loan at the right timing so that we could kill more interest per dollar. Yes, listen, it comes down to that. It comes down to that. We could do more per dollar, save more per dollar if we knew what to do. So prepayment of principal and understanding that is important. The next is isolating the principal amount. What does that mean? How much should I pay? And when should I pay it? So you have a certain amount of money, and you have a certain amount of money that you could prepay towards your loan. But how much should you prepay? Isolating the amount. And then when should you prepay? Isolating the time frame. Okay, because it matters. And then which loan should I attack first? Because the average family has 13 different debts. And even though the average family has 13 different debts, they're still living quite well. They just don't know that 35 to 39% of their take-home pay is paid in interest payments alone. Not the entire payment, just the interest part. Listen, do you want to get rid of that? How many of you want that to stop? All right. We're getting more people here online that are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And I'm telling you right now, we are going to transition over to, you're going to be able to join me on stage right here on YouTube. Yes, you'll be able to join us on stage on YouTube. We're going to send you out a link where you can join us so that you can come into our studio and ask your questions directly. All of you that are watching us online right now, all of you, you'll be able to do that. And we're going to do a test run on Sunday's show. Sunday's show is going to be a test run on bringing everybody into the studio so that they can be a part of the show from now on. We're starting that on next year, but we're going to do a test run this Sunday. When we're talking about this Sunday, we're talking about the history of lending in America. Where did it come from? How did it get started? And where are we as consumers? Where do we fit into the whole story of debt in America? Well, I'm telling you, we fit in as a resource, a natural resource that bankers are tapping into to siphon off our wealth to make them wealthy while we think we are doing quite well. Listen, they are doing their thing. What we need to do is understand what they're doing, and we need to turn the tables so that the consumer can benefit. So that's isolating principal amounts. All right. Then we're talking about leverage. Leverage. What is leverage? Have you ever sat on a teeter-totter? And if you set that teeter-totter, or I forget the other name for it, but if you set that thing right, a person you have two people, one is heavier and one is much lighter. If you set that lever correctly, the lighter person can hold the heavier person up in the air because of leverage. So think of it this way. With leverage, you want to put out the least amount of effort to get maximum return on that effort. When it comes to cooking, you want to put the least amount of ingredients into something that will bring out the fabulous taste. You don't want to put more salt. You don't want to put more onion. You don't want to put more garlic. You want to put the least amount of garlic in that's going to bring out the taste, the least amount of salt in that's going to bring out the taste. So you want to put the exact right amount to get these things done. All right. So if you're looking at the screen, got Freight King that just came in here. All right. How you doing, sir? You doing all right? All right. Let's invite him up to speak. Well, listen, we're putting everything online so people can see this. So we got leverage here. And the next one is liquidity. Understanding liquidity means understanding what all of your money can do for you. Yeah. Understanding what all your money can do for you, whether it's in the bank, in your pocket, whether it's on a credit card or a line of credit. We have it backwards, thinking that cash is king. And listen, I'm meeting people all the time with thousands upon thousands of dollars of cash in the bank, while at the same time they're carrying they're carrying credit where they're paying interest. It's because now I'm talking to a person the other day, and they're saying, "Listen, Don, I'm used to saving X amount of dollars, $500 a month, and just putting it in the bank. And in the bank, it's making 1/10 of 1%. 1/10 of 1%. They got a tidy sum in the bank, but they have debt as well. Can I show you why? We're going to get into all four principles here for our next to last show in the year, understanding these principles so we can springboard into next year. So we're going to go over the principles today. And on Sunday, we're going to go over the whole history of the amortized loan. How did that get started in the United States? Who got it started? Why did it get started? And who's benefiting and who's getting beat up over it? We're going to look at that thing and understand it from the ground level. We understand how to get the credit. We must understand how to use it to our advantage so that we don't have to pay all of this interest. So let me show you how putting money in the bank is one of the things that we understand when it comes to prepayment of principal. Okay? So let's get out of this. I'm going to stop this. We're going to get out of this, and we're going to bring up, we're going to bring up a new window, and we're going to put an amortization schedule on the screen. And this is from Brett Whistle. We're going to put in a $200,000 mortgage at 6% for 30 years. Okay, payment is $11.99.10. There we go. There's our payment. Now, remember I was telling you that this person was putting in $500 a month away. And in the bank, it's only making, it's making less than 1%. 1/10 of 1%. Listen, that's no money. That's no money. But let me show you something here by understanding prepayment of principal from the ground level, how to pay back your money to the bank or to the credit card company and make it impossible for them to charge you interest. How would you like to know that? All right. So if you're watching us online, okay, you're watching us online or you're here, let me move my information back. Let me move me back to the center screen. So it looks like I'm looking at you guys online here. All right. So there we go. Come on. Won't let me move it. What's going on here? I'm trying to change screens here, ladies and gentlemen, but it won't let me move it. Huh. Wait a minute here. We're going to get this thing right. There we go. Well, it still won't let me move it. But anyway, here's what we're talking about. I need you to understand that when it comes to managing your debt, your whole goal is not to pay off the debt. Your whole goal is to pay the least amount of interest that you possibly can. How can I give the bank back their money in a way that it saves me money? How can I do that? All right. Make it impossible for them to charge you interest. Here's what I want to show you. Every month you have a payment. On this payment, $11.99.10 is the payment. Every month, $199. You're going to start out with $199 going to principal. So every month, some of your money goes to principal and some of your money goes to interest. In this case, in the first month, $199.10 goes to principal. $1,000 goes to interest. The next month, because you owe less interest. So the next month, $999 goes to interest and $200.10 goes to principal. It's $1 difference. Okay. So every month you pay a little more principal, a little more money to principal, and a little less money to interest every single month. That's what amortizing a loan will do. Okay. It gives you a payment that you can afford, but it also makes it very expensive to maintain. And this is what I mean. If you had a payment of $11.99.10 and there was no and if there was no interest involved, all of your money would go to pay back the loan. Okay. And in that case, let me bring up a calculator. Bring up a calculator here, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. The payment, we have $200,000, and we have a payment of $11.99.10 that we could that we can afford. So if we divide that by $1,199.10, look here, equals that's 160, a little over 166 payments. So we take 166 divided by 12, okay, 13 years. So if there was no interest on this loan, we would be able to pay it off in about 14 years. All right. But because there's interest, every time you make a payment, some of your money goes to interest. Every time you make a payment. Listen, you definitely want to start sharing this with the people that you know. I need everybody that's in here watching right now. I need your help. Please share these videos with your family and friends. Start putting it on your social media. Take the link and put it on your social media. All right. In fact, let me go here to our YouTube channel. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go to our YouTube channel. Oh, besides, and our YouTube channel is going to get a facelift for the new year as well. All right. So, we've got. So, do you see these like 3 dots over here? If we click that, we can click share, and then click copy. All right. That's how you copy the link to a video. All right. If you want to send all of our live videos out, then you would click live right here. Okay. You click live, and then you go up to your address bar, and then you get all the live streams right here. You would just copy this and send that out to people. And look, when you do that, all of my lives come up. You don't have to search for them. They're right there. Okay. So we're going to get a whole new look in the next year. Copy these links, send it out to people. Now let's get back to the story at hand. Good morning, Miss Arlene. How you doing, Jeffrey? I see you in here. We're looking at the screen on YouTube right now. So if you have a second device, you can actually see these numbers. We're talking about why a particular person that I met was putting away $500 a month in the bank because they were told that saving is crucial. And I'm going to show you where you can also save, but not to your detriment. The instructions we receive from the bank helps the bank make money, not saves us money, puts us in a better position. So if I make this first payment of $11.99.10, do you see this? The next month, $200.10 would go to principal. Well, what if I prepaid that $200.10? What if I gave that to the bank early? I gave that to the bank in January. Do you realize normally if I waited till February, I would give them the $200.10, but I would also give them the $999 in interest on that line. Normally, that's what I would normally do. But if I give them the $200.10 early, I'm paid down to here on the second line on my amortization schedule, $199,600. So when I need to make the next payment for February, because you're going to make a payment every single month. Don't mistake that. Every single month you're going to make a payment. So, but since I'm already on line 2, my February payment now drops to line 3. $201.10 goes to principal, $998 goes to interest, and this $999, I skip over that and never have to pay it ever. The total amount of interest that the bank wants on this loan is $231,676. I just reduced the overall interest cost by $999 by giving the bank $200 early. Now, we just found out how we can give the bank back their money interest free. They don't get to charge you interest when you do this. You want to make it impossible for them to charge you interest. And listen, will some of you want to come up to the stage here in Clubhouse? Because when you come to the stage, more people get invited in. That would help us out tremendously to grow the room. But most everybody is over on YouTube right now. So if you want to see these examples, there's a link to the YouTube channel in the chat, or you can go to YouTube and search for P.I.L.L method and see our live. You want to see what we're talking about here. So here's what happens. So if you know that by prepaying this $200, you could save $999 in interest. This is what I tried to explain to this other person. All right. What happens when she puts $500 in the bank every month to make 0.1%? What if she were to take just 500 of her dollars and place it on this mortgage? Okay. So let's just say I'm just going to do $603.30 because that's an easy thing to show you. All right. She's got money in the bank. So let's take $603.30. That's $200.10, $201.10, and $202.10. If we give that to the bank early, that's money that's sitting in her bank account. Do you realize we kill this $999 in interest, this $998 in interest, this $997 in interest? Nearly $3,000 in interest has been eliminated from money sitting in the bank, making 0.1%, and our next mortgage payment drops all the way down to number 5. That's what understanding prepayment of principal can do for you. All right. We just got Quita in the room. So go to YouTube so you can watch these examples on the screen, and the link is in the chat. Okay. So search for P.I.L.L method if you want to do it that way. So that's what prepayment of principal can do. Do you guys understand that? Okay. Can I get, let me see. I guess I could just invite you to speak. And if you don't, and you don't have to speak, really, you could just come to the stage and sit there and learn. All right. And so if you do that, more and more people will come in. Thank you very much, Miss Arlene. Good to see you. How are you doing? Excellent. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Miss Arlene, how are you? Can you speak? Maybe you can't. All right, good. We can barely hear you. Hello.
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes, I'm here to learn.
Oh, good, good, good. Are you seeing our example on YouTube as well?
Yes, I am.
Very good, very good. Sir, how do you pronounce your name?
Dinas.
Hey, Dinas, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Are you watching our examples on YouTube as well?
Not yet. I'm kind of moving, but I'm on my way to my laptop now to watch it on YouTube.
Well, listen, you can always watch the replay, but thank you for being here. And anytime, do either one of you have a question or a comment at this point?
Not at the moment.
All right, great. So hang out with me, okay? Hang out with me. All right. We're getting people ready for next year. All right. And folks, come to the stage so more people can see you and come in to what we're talking about and see what we're talking about. We need to understand how we can give money back to the bank and make it impossible for them to charge you interest. Let me show you one other thing here. Do you see that one of the reasons why the bank is so successful in charging us interest, and we are so great at giving them a lot of money that we don't need to give them, is because we lose track of our interest consumption. How much interest are we actually paying per month? We don't add it up. We don't look at it. We just get into the habit of making a mortgage payment. And guess what, folks? By nature, because it's a mortgage payment, it doesn't change. The taxes and insurance may change, but the mortgage payment itself, what goes to the mortgage company, doesn't change because it's there by contract. By the very nature of amortization, the mortgage actually gets easier to pay over time. Why is that? Because we make more money. And it gets easier to pay, and it gets easier to lose track of how much interest you are paying. Now, I use this as an example, but let me put in a mortgage that is more like today. The average mortgage today is $420,000 across the country, 420 grand. We're going to keep that 6% interest rate because interest rates are dropping now. Okay. And I want to show you what's going on here. The very first payment, $418.11 goes to principal, $2,100 goes to interest. And I'm telling you, this is a payment these folks can afford. They can well afford it. Okay. But what happens is we're not paying attention to how much interest we're paying. In 1 year, I need you to take a look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest. And I'm using an online amortization calculator developed by Brett Whistle. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put that in our comment section. Okay. So we can paste that in here, put it in our comment section. And I'm going to give you this link in Clubhouse as well. All right. So if you get that link, you can do some of these experiments that I'm doing with understanding how this works. Now, this is a teaching tool that I use. It is not my program, but it helps you to understand the basic operations of our program. All right. Now, when you get an amortization schedule from your bank, they don't give you these two columns, cumulative principal and cumulative interest, meaning we're going to add up how much principal you pay, and we're also going to add up how much interest you're paying. In 1 year, here's what it looks like. $5,157 goes to principal. Look at this. $25,000 goes to interest. Oh my goodness. Out of all of that money, out of $30,000. So when you add up these payments, okay, the payment is $2,518.11. Okay, $2,518.11 times 12 is $30,217.32. So out of $30,000, look at this, $25,000 goes to interest and only $5,157 goes to interest. How does that make you all feel? And this is somebody that can afford it. This is what's going on with your mortgages, your credit cards, your student loans. Too much money is going to interest where we have control over how much interest we pay because we can control the timing in which we can control the timing in which we pay the bank. You can give them money. When you give them money in your own timing, do you realize you are in control of how much money? Let me see here. I got to get this off my screen. All right. There we go. Get that off. And I'm changing screens here. Oh, this won't let me change it. Okay. Anyway, so what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is understanding. What we're doing is understanding what is actually happening behind the scenes. So let's stay in control. You learn how the basics of prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. I need to show you what happens when you lose track of this. And we have a brand new person here on Clubhouse. We're watching our examples on YouTube if you want to see what we're talking about. In the first year, $25,000 goes to interest on this mortgage, or $5,000 goes to principal. In the second year, you paid this loan down by $10,000. Look here, $49,000 goes to interest. Third year, $16,446 pays the mortgage down, but $74,000 goes to interest. Let me go to 5 years. 5 years on this loan. This is a $420,000 mortgage at 6%. And in the first 5 years, you pay this loan down by $29,171.55, but you pay out $121,915.05. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called an amortization schedule. It's called self-amortizing. And on Sunday, I'm going to show you the history of the self-amortizing loan, how it came to the U.S. and how everybody gets educated on this loan except the people who have to use it. There's no education and helping you to understand the amount of interest that you're actually paying and how you are in control of not paying all of that interest. You are in complete control. Okay. Let me see. Now, if you've got any questions or comments, please put it in the chat or raise your hand. All right. Come to the stage and let's talk about it. Okay. If you're watching us online on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, put it in the comment section and we'll handle that. Look at this. What can we do about this? Do you realize that if you understand the basics of prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity, the 4 basic principles of the P.I.L.L method, you can cut your interest costs by 75%. 75%. Let me give you an example here. Let's just say, what would happen if you did this? And this is amazing. What would happen if you did this? Let's say you're this person who has been saving up cash, all right? And you have several $1,000s in the bank, all right? And you already know by looking at this amortization schedule that in the first year, you're going to pay this loan down by $5,157.63. Let me ask everybody here that's watching us right now online and in Clubhouse listening, do I have to pay this $5,157.63? Do I have to pay it in 12 monthly installments? Do I have to pay it that way? That's all the principal payments added up. It comes to $5,157.63. Put it in the chat. Do I have to pay it in 12 monthly installments? Do I have to pay it that way? Oh, thank you, Era. I was thinking of, I see you put in there. I was thinking of the word seesaw. You're right. When I was coming up with I was trying to think of the other word for teeter totter. It's seesaw. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. All right. Let's see. So do I have any comments in the chat? Do I have to pay all of this in 12 monthly installments? Well, you don't have to. If you had it, let's say you have several $1,000s in the bank. To pay this mortgage down for 1 year costs $25,000 to get it to this point where you owe $414,842.37. To pay it the bank's way, using their timing, it takes 12 months to get it here and 25,000 of your dollars to get it here. What if, let me put my calculator on the screen. What if you understood it this way? Take $5,000 out of the bank, because we love looking at that money in the bank. We just absolutely love it. Let's take $5,000 of, if we had that, take $5,000 out and apply it to the mortgage on line one. We're going to pay this $5,157.63 all at one time on line one instead of over 12 months. So remember, our mortgage is $420,000. We're going to subtract $5,157.63 all at one time, not in $400 increments for 12 months, but all at one time. It comes to $414,842.37. That's the exact number that's right here. So if you have it, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just giving you some ideas to think about. If you have it, you can pay that money all at once by choosing, you choose when to pay it. And guess what? You're paid down to here in 1 month, and they don't get to charge you $25,000 to do the same thing. You've only paid $2,100 in interest to get your loan to here instead of $25,000 in interest. Folks, that's a $22,983 savings. $22,000 in interest savings by you choosing when to pay the bank. Does this make sense to you all? Listen, I've been talking about this for the last 3 years, and in next year, we're going to have a whole new show. We're going to bring you new information about how all of this works with multifamily, with multiple mortgages. We're going to help you to not only pay off your mortgage, but we want to bring people on that are going to help you to understand how you can invest your money. But you need to know how the game is played. We got to get past this. We've got to understand that leveraging money is a good thing when you do it the right way. If leveraging money was not a good thing, then banks would not be in existence, because they're the biggest borrowers in town. They borrow our money. They make a huge profit off of our money and then pay us pennies on the dollar for the use of that money. Well, why can't you do the same thing? Why can't you borrow money from the bank, get a big benefit out of it, whether it's your education, your car, your house? You're getting a big benefit out of it, but why not pay them pennies on the dollar for the use of that money? You can, because you have a choice here. Okay, so $5,000 prepaid does this, saves that. Can I show you what your return on investment would be? Okay, so if we say, here's how we do ROI. What is your benefit? $22,983 in interest we don't have to pay. That's our benefit. How much did you pay to get that benefit? Then how much did you invest to get that benefit? That is the $5,157.63. So if you do a little bit of division and then multiply that answer by 100, then you will see your ROI. What is your return on investment? So let's put $22,983.27 into our calculator and divide it by 5,157.63 equals that, and then we multiply that by 100. There you are. 445%. We're struggling to make, we're taking money out of the bank that's making 1/10 of 1%. We're going to invest it in our mortgage. And because of that, we can make 445% on that money. What do you all think of that? I can't get any comments in the chat or anything on saving 445% instead of leaving it in the bank, making 1/10 of 1%. That, listen, 445%, that is a phenomenal return on your money. No wonder it's not taught in high school, in college. No wonder CPAs don't know this. No wonder bank presidents and vice presidents don't know this, because they're not taught how an amortization schedule works and how we can benefit, how much we can benefit from prepaying. We're not taught that. So when you understand how all of this works, you understand how you can understand your money. Here's some things going into this next year. Some of you are going to be able to buy a house. Here's some things that you don't, understanding this amortization schedule. Here's some things you want to stay away from. Stay away from large down payments on your loan. Let's just say that this person has 100. So this this is getting into the leveraging and the liquidity part of the P.I.L.L method. They have an extra $100,000 that they could put down on this loan if they wanted to, turning it into a $320,000 loan. Okay? They can put $100,000 down, and instead of $420,000 for 30 years, now they have a 30-year loan for $320,000 because they put $100,000 down. Don't do that. Do this instead. If you can afford the payment on the $400,000 loan, take your $100,000 and we can show you how you can strategically apply that money here to save thousands of dollars in interest. But for the sake of time, let's go to cumulative principal, look at cumulative interest, and let's scroll down on cumulative principal until we see $100,000 applied to principal. If we do it the bank's way, to get $100,000 applied to principal, it would take us 158 payments. Okay, 158 payments. Okay, 156 payments divided by 12 equals 13 years. Okay, 13 years. So that's 13 years, 2 months. It would take us 13 years, 2 months to pay our loan down to right here. But if we had that $100,000 and we didn't use it as a down payment, but we use it as a prepayment, adding it to our principal on our once the mortgage is closed, we knock off 13 years, 2 months and save $297,000 in interest. I am telling you the truth. This really does work this way. The mortgage people aren't telling you this. Your real estate agent isn't telling you this. Your CPA not telling you this. Your financial planner is not telling you this. They're not telling you that you could take that money and look at this. You still have a $320,000 loan. You just have 13 years less. You just knocked 13 years, 2 months off of this by taking that 100,000 and placing it on principal. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to start learning how an amortization schedule actually works so that we can save money and invest our money in other things. Why? If I don't understand this, guess what happens? It'll take me 13 years, 2 months to pay my loan down by $100,000. Plus, I will have given the bank $593.29 because I have forgotten all about how much interest I'm actually paying. I am conditioned to lose track of how much interest I'm actually paying. conditioned to do that. Folks, when do you want this to stop? I need you to share this information with others. I need you to get this out there to other people so that they can see these videos on YouTube. And starting next year, well, actually, we're going to do our first run through on inviting people to join us in our studio on our online show so that they can ask questions and make comments on everything. We're going to change the format of the show because this way I do too much talking. We want to hear from you. Everybody that's in here right now, starting on Sunday, we're going to send you out a link where you can actually join us online. Now, you don't have to turn on your camera if you don't want to. But we're going to add you to the conversation and bring you into this, and you can start asking questions about what's going on live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You're going to listen. You are going to be a valuable part of our show from now on because the questions are going to come from you. And let me tell you something. If somebody were to call me and said, Don, I want a consultation. Our basic consultation is $250 an hour. $250 an hour. That's our basic consultation. If somebody turns in says, I'm requesting a savings report. They can get a savings report for free. A savings report tells you how much interest you're saving and the month, day, and year you could be debt free. That's what a savings report can do for you. And you get that for free. But if you get a consultation on the savings report going over that, that's $150 right there. And you're able to ask any question you want, and I'll answer that. What we're going to be doing for you is that if you come on the show, you can ask the same questions that I charge somebody else. If they call my company at 256-886-1867 and set up an appointment, I'll charge you $250 to answer the same questions. You can come on the show for free and ask the same questions and get answers. Well, listen, this is going. We're expecting a huge crowds because we want the word to get out so that you can be a part of this show. We want to bring you in. We're going into our third year of how to pay off mortgages in 7 years. We're going into our third year, and we're going to make you a part of it in this next year. I'm excited about the whole thing. Listen, folks, here's another thing. If you're getting ready to buy a house, here's another thing you want to stay away from. Okay, another thing you want to stay away from. When people tell you the interest rates are still a little bit too high, and they're saying, marry the house, but date the rate. When the interest rates drop, because somebody actually, a client of mine, forgot about this point, and they were offered a lower interest rate, and they called, and I'm so glad they called, says, should we take that? I said, I don't know. Let's run the numbers. When you lower the interest rate because of a refinance, you believe you're saving money. Can I ask you a question? Why would your bank that has you locked in for 30 years to a higher interest rate, why would your bank offer you a lower interest rate so you could save money? Because if you're saving money, doesn't that mean they're losing money? Why would they do it? Why would they do that? I'll show you why. So I've got an interest rate here, okay? We got an interest rate of, right now, you got the interest rates are hovering right around 6.5%. Okay, so I'm going to show you 6.5%. We're going to go through a scenario, okay, on a $420,000 loan. Watch this. Watch this. The payment is $26.54.69. Most people refinance somewhere in 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years. So let's just go to 7 years on this. Okay. In 7 years, let's say the interest rates have dropped by 2 points. All right. 7 years. That's 84 payments. You've already paid $40,000 towards principal, and you've paid out $182,000 in interest. If you're a P.I.L.L method client, you would have given them that $40,000 to pay down this loan, and you would have only given them about, I don't know, $20,000 to $25,000 in interest instead of 182. That's what we do. You pay less interest, but you get the same results for a lot less interest. Okay, so we've already paid them $182,000 in interest, and so now you owe $379,747.75. I need you to pay attention to the principal payment here, $594.50. $594.50. That is your principal payment. And remember, we attack the loan with the principal payment. So the smaller the principal payment, the easier it is to attack the loan. Okay, so let's put the same loan in. We're going to duplicate this tab. We're going to go back here. We're going to copy this because this is what we're going to refinance down to 5.5. I'm sorry, we're at 6. Do I have 6.5? What interest rate do I have in here? Hold on, I forgot already. All right, we have an interest rate of 6.5. Okay, let's just say by magic we can get it down to 4.5. Do you know how many people would jump on that with both feet? 4.5, and I'm paying 6.5. So they're going to take this. They're going to take this number, the 379,000. We're going to take that. We're going to put it into a new amortization schedule. So we're using Brett Whistle here. We're going to paste that number in. Now you can't have the comma in there. You got to take the comma out. The program doesn't like that. All right. So we're going to change our 6.5 to 4.5. Who wouldn't want that? All right. We're going to take out our let's see, 4.5. All right. We're going to leave the 360 in because guess what? We're going to get a new 360 month loan. And we're going to take this payment out of $26.54.69. Here's our new payment is $19.24.13. Woo-hoo-hoo! $19.24.13 is our new payment. Okay. So our old payment used to be $26.54.69. So, okay, so we're going to put that in our calculator. All right. 26.54.69. That is our old payment. Our new payment is $19.24.13 minus $19.24.13 equals, we're saving $730. Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize when you get a refinance and you've refinanced to a lower interest rate, it is not the lower interest rate that does the heavy lifting to lower your payment. It is dividing your payments over a new 360-month loan. That's what lowers your payment. That's what does the heavy lifting, not the interest rate. Getting a new 30-year loan. And you remember, we were in this loan for 7 years. You get a new 30-year loan. Isn't that a 37-year loan now? If you refinance this? Not only that, but remember what I told you. Your principal payment was $594.50. Lower the interest rate. Let me see what our principal payment is now on our 594. All right, well, yeah, on this one, our payment is a little bit less. Oh, we forgot something though. Yeah, we forgot something. We forgot the closing costs. How much are the closing costs? Somewhere. So I've seen it as high as 17. I've seen it as high as $17,000. But let's just say that the closing costs are 10,000 to make it easy. 300 and 389. We're going to put that in here. 389 389,747. Our new payment is not 1,900. All right, now it's 1947. It's just a few dollars more, but we just rolled in $10,000 into this loan of closing costs. Now, our principal payment is actually lower here. All right, our principal payment is actually lower here. So when you lower the principal payment, you actually are in better control of the loan. So our principal payment is lower, but we have a brand new 30-year loan. Can I show you something about lowering it to 4.5%? Because now you have to pay back the $10,000 that you just added in here. So your refinance didn't cost $10,000. It costs more. Watch this. In the first year, you just paid back $6,287 of the $10,000 closing costs that you rolled into the mortgage, and paid $17,000 interest on a $6,200 loan. By the time you pay back the $10,000, it actually takes 19 months and $27,433.31. This is one of the major reasons why you ought to be careful with a refinance. I'm not saying don't ever refinance. What I am saying is find out the reason why you want to refinance and make sure it doesn't cost you more money in the long run. I never, ever refinance just to get a lower interest rate. Never. Because you start the loan over. Plus, if you have been accelerating the whole time, then you're so far down into the amortization schedule by the time you hit 7 years, you're almost done with the loan anyway. Most people are done paying off their mortgage with the P.I.L.L method in 7 to 9 years. So there's no reason to refinance. But if you don't know anything about the P.I.L.L method, you roll that fee into here. Okay, it costs you $27,000. Oh Lord, what if we took some of our equity out to pay off some high interest loans? You know that's what they say to do. You can consolidate paying off this high interest debt, because we're just coming out, we're coming out of the holidays, we're going into the new year, and there's going to be a flood of advertising saying you can pay off all of the Christmas debt, you can pay off your cars, you can pay off a whole bunch of stuff by getting a refinance and consolidating. And not only that, but your monthly payments on all of your debt can be lowered by as much as $1,000 per month, somewhere between $500 and $1,000, because you consolidated that debt. Can I show you something about that? Now we have an opportunity to add $50,000 to this. Okay, let me get that off of here. That's so ugly. All right, so we got $50,000 here. Okay, we're going to add to this. So we got 300. Okay, 389,000. All right, 747 and 75 cents. There we go. And now we're going to take $50,000 of our equity, take cash out to pay off some high interest debt. Okay, so we're going to add to that $50,000. There we go. Now we're up to 439,747. Okay. Now let's put that into the mortgage here. All right, 439,747. and 75 cents. Okay. At 4% interest rate, we put in our payment is 22.28.14. Our old payment is 26.54. So look at this. This is how it's sold to us. We're going to save. We're going to roll in that debt into the mortgage. Our new payment is 22.28. Our old payment was 26.54. All right. So our payment is still less, but we rolled into some other debt to save another $1,000 in minimum payments that we don't have to pay out anymore because we paid those loans off with the 50 grand. So some of those loans are what? 10%, 15%. Maybe there's some credit cards at 30% that you paid off. Okay. So high interest. Okay. So we're going to roll it into the mortgage at 4.5%. Let me show you what happens. Remember, we just rolled in $50,000 at 4.5%, and we paid off some high interest loans. Let's pay off the first $50,000 and see what happens. Pay off the first $50,000. It takes 75 months. Okay. 60 months, that's 5 years, 6 years, 6 years, and 3 months. It takes to pay off that $50,000 that you rolled in because you paid off that high interest debt. Look how much interest you paid on that. $117,000. $117,000 you paid in interest on that. What does that really mean? If you borrow $50,000 and you pay it back and you pay back $50,000 in interest, isn't that 100% interest on that loan? If you borrow $50,000 and pay back $100,000 in interest, isn't that 200% interest? This is 217% interest, ladies and gentlemen, on a $50,000 loan. Would you go to your credit union and say, credit union, lend me $50,000 so I can pay off my high interest debt? And then they'll turn around and tell you, yeah, but in the next 75 months, you got to pay us $117,000 in interest on that loan. You would never sign up for that loan. But we sign up for it every time we roll debt into a mortgage. When we're thinking we're getting it at 4.5%, when in actuality, in this case, it's 217% interest on that loan. Nobody is telling us that. Your accountant is not telling you that. Your financial planner is not telling you that. No one is telling us this. We didn't learn it in college. We didn't learn it in business school. It's not being taught anywhere else but here. That is ridiculous. How do we get bamboozled? This is a person with perfect credit. How do they get bamboozled into paying 217% interest on a $50,000 loan and not even realize that they're doing it because they were told it was 4.5%? Do you see why we do what we do here, the P.I.L.L method? To make sure that we get into this for the next year and do things in a different way? To get ready, I'm going to tell you on Sunday, we're going to come back here on Sunday. We're going to tell you the history of the self-amortizing loan, how loans are done today, how come they make so much interest. We're going to give you the history of that this Sunday and where we come into the story. How many people are educated on how these loans work? How many people make money? How many different industries were created by doing loans this way? But who pays the bill? The American consumer pays the bill. And they do it in such a way that we don't even realize that we're doing it. Let me tell you something here, folks. Even though This is a horrendous number, $117,000 in interest paid on a $50,000 loan for 6 years. In 6 years. Paid it back in 6 years, but it cost $117,000 in interest. That's ridiculous. It's not the $117,000 that's the big problem. Here's the big problem. You just took $117,000 out of your family's legacy and gave it to a bank, which means you can't also invest that $117,000. And I'm telling you, that $117,000 invested over a 20 or 30 year period turns into millions. So we're not paying an extra $117,000. We're giving away millions of dollars out of our estate. And there's so much talk now about generational wealth. Excuse me. How can we? I gotta get a drink of water. I'll be right back. How can we talk about generational wealth and grow generational wealth efficiently if we're giving away so much money in interest? In this next year, we're going to drill down deep, not only about how to preserve that money, but we're going to drill down deep on how to invest that money for your future. Stop giving it to the banks and stop making them wealthy. Create your own family bank with that money so that you can leave something behind for your children so that we don't have to keep starting out at zero. Let's build some generational wealth. Let's build some financial literacy. Let's build in some understanding about how these loans actually work so that we can make it benefit us and our families. And I need your help to get the message out. And I'm willing to pay to get it out. Here's what we're going to do. I want to talk to you about the information we just gave here today. All right. On understanding prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity, how we can understand this loan these loans from a deeper level. I wish I had more time to go in much deeper, but I have 2 years worth of videos up on YouTube. Please watch them. Please watch them. So I'm going to put in in Clubhouse here. I'm going to put my link to the top of the stage here. It's ice10k.com. ice10k.com. That is my link there. Okay. So you can go to that, and we're going to put this on the screen as well. Okay. ice10k. Oops. Sorry. Can't type. There we go. ice10k.com. And this is what it looks like. You can become an affiliate and help. All you have to do is help share these videos on YouTube with people. That's it. Once you fill this out, you can click on here at the bottom of the page here. You can click on become an affiliate. It takes about 15 seconds. Put in your name, put in your phone number, put in your email, and tell us how you want to get paid. Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, and click submit. That's it. In about a week, you'll receive an email. You're not going to get anything instantly, so don't look for it. Okay? If you don't get an error message, that means we got it. But in about a week, you're going to get some basic instructions, and you'll be on our email list so that you can get information on the next training that we do on this session. And you'll find out you don't have to do any selling. Just we'll teach you how to identify people who want to manage their debt in a different way. They're tired of the old way. Get them to watch the videos And then you contact them in a couple of days and ask them if they want more information. If they say yes, then you scroll down under, we got Dr. Eric Thomas here, ET. Scroll down underneath his picture, scroll down underneath my picture, and click on refer a friend. Then you fill this out for your family or friend or acquaintance. Fill this out, put in their name, their phone number, their email, their zip code, so we'll know when to call, what time zone they're in. And then you put in your name and number as the one who referred them, and any other information that we need to know about them. What is a good time to call? Do they work during the day? Those sorts of things. What days are good, what days are not good. Just give us some basic information to help them to contact, so we can contact them, and then click submit. If they become one of our clients, we'll pay you $300. So you can make between $300 and $3,000 a month just by sharing the YouTube channel. This is why we do. Listen, we want more people to watch the YouTube channel and join and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is why we're changing the format to get more people involved, so more people can understand what we're doing here. And if you want to, everybody that's watching us online and hearing us on Clubhouse, you can help us to get our message out by becoming an affiliate and sharing the YouTube channel. No selling, but once they become a client, we pay you. It's pretty good stuff. It's pretty good stuff. All right. We have Sharon was in here earlier. Okay. Michelle Ann says, this is great news. Thank you very much for, she's watching us on YouTube. There you go. Sharon Jones says, maybe this is the generational curse that we've heard about. That's what she says about what we're doing here. But Sharon has, she has sent us several new people have watched the videos, and they have become clients, and we've paid her. Sharon will tell you that she's been paid. This is great stuff. All right. So, and she's in here right now watching us on YouTube. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can help us there. Now, what about the education piece? What about the education piece? Do you realize that if you go back to the ICE 10K card and click on at the bottom here, my book, do you realize my book is the only book on Amazon that even begins to talk about how to understand an amortization schedule? The only book on Amazon out of 33 million titles, the only one that talks about how to understand this from a basic level. And you can listen, it is easy enough so that 8th graders can understand it. You can study this with the videos and teach your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews this information. Do you know, every time I start talking about this to younger people who may not have a mortgage or maybe have their first car, they're all ears. I mean, they are so into it because they have no idea how much interest their parents are paying. When I do a seminar for kids, you know what I call it? This is the title of the seminar. Your parents are using your inheritance to pay interest. Your parents are using your inheritance to pay interest on these loans. And they are all ears, let me tell you. I went to Houston not too long ago and did to talk to a school, 8th graders. I had several sessions. I think we did 3 to 4 sessions, going to different classes. They were all into it. We gave them some age appropriate examples of how to understand how amortization actually works. And do you know, they were horrified that their parents, when I told them how the mortgage is paid, they were horrified. Says, listen, that makes no sense. Why should anybody pay all of that interest? We as parents get used to it, and we continue to do it because there's nobody else telling us that there's a better way. And these kids, I gave books away. Every one of them wanted a book, and some of them wanted two. And I signed the book for each one. Okay, we gave out 200 or 300 books that day. Okay, and we gave them to the kids. It was amazing. It was amazing. So here's the last thing you want to do. Some of you have learned enough, have been dealing with this enough. Some of you have noticed how much interest you're paying. Some of you are wanting to know how you can get out of debt. You saw the title and you wanted to know more, not just for other folks, but for yourself as well. Here's what we're going to do for you. Okay. Click on the bottom here. Scroll down underneath ET's picture and you'll see get a savings and earnings report. When you click on it, that's what you'll see. Get a savings and earnings report. It starts off with don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Don't do it. Get your free savings report. You can know it's a two-step process. Just follow the 2 steps. Very easy. You can know the month, day, and year you could be debt-free and how much interest you could save. And your interest savings, the average family saves about $150,000 in interest they don't have to pay. And they're out of debt in 7 to 9 years instead of 30 years to never. And your interest savings that you're no longer paying the bank, a tiny portion of that pays for your lifetime program. The money that the bank was supposed to get pays for your program. And you pay for it once for life. And you can use it over and over and over again. We have people right here in Huntsville, Alabama. That's where we're broadcasting from right now, Huntsville. We have people here that are paid off 3 and 4 houses with the same program they got for us years ago and haven't paid us another dime since. Coaching is involved. Customer service. We've got customer service, not email customer service, live customer service. You call, somebody answers the phone to answer your question about this program for the rest of your life. We've got people on our team to help you with investments. We got people on our team that will even negotiate your next new car and get that price down into the dirt for you. Okay, because we have people on our team that used to own a dealership, so they know how to talk to other dealerships for you without having to go through that. Well, let me take it to my manager. No, they don't play that game. All right. And we're going to get you the best price on your car. That's all involved in what we do here at the P.I.L.L method, not just helping you to understand how to save money on interest, but how to understand money as a whole. Get your free savings report and let's learn about how to handle that. So sign up to become an affiliate. You'll get a letter, an email in about a week, giving you some instructions. Get the book and get a savings report. That's what we're going to do for you in the next year. And listen, folks, do not forget, this Sunday, we're going to tell you the whole history of how this whole thing got started by lending this way in the United States, and how they're making so much money, and how and you'll see why the educational piece for the American consumer was left out of the education process. It's not taught at junior high, high school, college. It's not taught in business school. It's not, if you're a CPA, you're not taught how a loan works. If you are a mortgage loan officer, you're not taught how a loan works. If you are a real estate agent, you're not taught how a mortgage works. If financial planners are not taught how all of this works. There's a reason why the self-amortizing mortgage or car loan or credit card, how all of that works, is not taught in school. Because you are a valuable resource to the banks to pay interest on this money And I will tell you this, but do you realize when you got your mortgage, did you ever see a dollar? I mean, some actual money? Do you realize your bank, when you got that loan, whoever got paid for it, the builder that built the house or whoever, they just wrote that money into their account? No real money actually exchanged hands. For every dollar on deposit at a bank, they can lend out $8 or $9. It's called fractional reserve lending. They didn't actually lend you any money. You just signed a note that you would pay back a certain amount of money plus interest, but no actual money changed hands. When you have debt, the debt actually creates the money. Debt actually creates the money because you pay back real dollars for the numbers that the bank wrote into somebody else's account, plus the interest. We're going to tell you the truth about this. It's all going to come out this Sunday. If you at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, 9:30 Eastern Time, it's going to be live. And for the first time, you're going to be able to come into the studio with us. We're going to give you a link where you can come into the studio with us and talk to us online. We're going to change the whole format into question and answer. It's going to be like a call-in show, but you're actually going to be here, like a town hall. Like a town hall. You're going to be with me every single week from now on. We're changing the format so that we can converse with each other, and I'm not just talking to my camera. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. I want to thank all of you for being here. We're going to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas. I'm going to take this off the screen and see what he had to say about paying off his loan using the P.I.L.L method. Okay, we're going to hear from him, and we'll be back Sunday with the brand new format. We're going to this is going to be our run through, what they call it, a dress rehearsal, so that we can start the new year running. We're bringing on a new producer. You'll be able to meet her. And it's just going to be a whole different vibe when we can get more people involved. I tell you, the show goes much better with questions and answers. You're going to love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. Let me check the chat. Arlene said, thank you. Elma said, phenomenal. Let's see. Devosha said, that's a game changer. All right, great. We're going to see you on Sunday. And if you can't make it, the replay will be up. But these shows, listen, if you like the last 2 years, you're going to love this next year, because when people start asking questions, that drives the whole thing. That drives the whole conversation. And they're going to be asking questions about stuff that I might not think about to actually teach you. And you'll be able to ask the same questions. And listen, guess what you'll find out? You will not hear, yeah, call me later. Now you have to pay for that answer. The same questions you can ask me in a session for $250, you'll be able to ask online, and I have to give you the answer for free. I have to. You don't have to pay for it. It's going to be great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, see what he has to say about this, and I'll see you on Sunday. Oh, and to everybody that applies to, I hope you have a great preparation day, and happy Sabbath to all of you. All right, we're out. Dr. Eric Thomas, where are you? Oh, wrong video. Here it is.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.